Hey, who here knows what This Week in Geek is? Anybody listen to it?
Yeah.
No. Ooh. Excellent. All right, so I'll just give you kind of a setup on this, and I'm only standing because we don't have a chair. Give me a chair. I'll sit. We only have 3 mics. It's all week. Okay, so This Week in Geek is a podcast that I'll give you the quick history on it. By the way, I'm Rob Southgate. I am one of the co-owners of Southgate Media Group. We're a podcast and content marketing company. We make videos and podcasts and live events and all that stuff. Why don't you introduce yourself and then I'll explain how this works. You, next to me.
Hi, I'm James Wilder. I'm a science fiction author and poet. I also host a show called Tales by the Blue Light in Elgin, Illinois, every third weekend of every month. And you can find me here at this convention in beautiful booth F48 in the Artist Alley.
Yeah, come down and buy all this stuff. Okay, and then you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brandon Carlson, aka The Big Fat Geek. I'm a YouTube personality, podcaster, and all-around geek.
Fitness guru, as you can tell, he's out of breath. And
I run short distances and die almost immediately.
He's the Richard Simmons of our network.
My name is Alil Kanitsa. I do this podcast.
Also a fitness guru.
Yes, very much so. I do like to work out, sitting in my chair, watching the TV. I do a podcast called the League of Geeks podcast. That's Geeks with a Z.
Not on our network, so it's not like this is all us.
Meaning it's an amazing podcast.
What else? Do you do anything else?
Yeah, what else are you on, Alil?
I do a podcast called Enough Said, if we ever do it again,
yeah.
with Rob, about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Marvel. We do this podcast.
He's on This Week in Geek, yes.
This Week in Geek and others.
Others, there you go.
So hi,
my life.
Oh, wow.
My name is Chris Mao. I am the co-owner of the Blue Box Cafe, which is a Doctor Who themed cafe in Elgin, Illinois. If you're from Chicago and familiar with it, we're about 35 minutes from here. I am also, I help Rob co-produce Tales by the Blue Light that James performs at our deli. I'm also in This Week in Geek, Disturbed, probably like 6 other podcasts.
All sorts of stuff.
Media group.
Yeah, we did one about Deutschland '83, which is it was a TV show about the Berlin Wall. Very exciting stuff. We called it In Hoff We Trust. Kids, cover your ears. Originally we called it Deutschbags, but we didn't go with that name. Okay, so here's what the deal is. Deutsch isn't a bad word. Here's what the deal is. We did, for a couple of years, we did live shows out of the Blue Box every Saturday night. 3 hours of live podcasting without a net. Then we hired a net. Nope. Okay.
You are allowed to boo.
Yeah, right. So
It's encouraged, actually.
we did this, and we found real quickly that we had to develop shows. So one of the shows that we developed that we could always fall back on was This Week in Geek, which ended up becoming a really popular show for us. We ended up putting out it as a podcast. We stopped doing the shows every week at the Blue Box just because that's a lot of work, and we all got very busy. So we said, let's do it just as a regular show, as a regular podcast. And that's what this is. We're going to just kind of do our This Week in Geek show. It's evolved from being a lot of geek news, which we are going to do, so you're going to get a sample of that, how we do that, and then it evolved into us just being mean to each other and making fun of things, which we are going to do.
Mostly each other.
And we like audience interaction, so you can shout stuff out, you can raise your hand, you can punch a lil. There's a contest we have, it's called Punch a Lil. Oh, we'll save that for later. Yeah, your kids want to win! Yay! His kids are amazingly tiny too. Do you see how little they are? Look at him and those kids. It's amazing. It's amazing. Yes, Alex. All right. So, do you guys want to cover some news first? Because I got one. I want to talk about.
All right.
Yes. Go ahead. What do you got?
It might be the same one you are. What's going on with DC movies?
That's all I want to talk about.
Yes,
Here's what I want to talk about. Did you guys read the thing? I can't stand this. Okay. Sorry, guys. I can't take it. I can't take it. And I don't want to, I wish everybody was just standing down.
I was sitting in a chair when you...
I can't see anybody, so it's awful.
We appreciate it.
So you guys read the thing about Matt Reeves, right? So Matt Reeves has the Batman movie coming out, and then he's now saying that the Batman movie is not part of the DCEU. Yeah.
But he did retract that though. Like,
Yeah, he said later, it is part of the
it
Yeah,
is
but it's a
part-
different Batman.
But it's not a different Batman. So
He
it's,
retracted it because everybody went, what?
I think what he meant was it's its own story. Kind of if you look at, like the original Iron Man movie, they weren't trying to develop the Avengers yet. They weren't trying to build this bigger universe outside of.
Other than that last scene of the movie.
Exactly, outside of at the end credit scene when they threw that in. And so Matt Reeves wants to build a Batman movie that has nothing to do with Superman, that has nothing to do with Wonder Woman. It's Batman in Gotham City with.
But it's
his
not
own
Ben
little-
Affleck, so it's going to be a different.
No, it is Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is not out.
He is out. He's out.
Wait,
When did that happen?
I didn't hear that.
I
did not hear that.
We just talked about it. I was on Camps and Lunatics yesterday. They're like, they were saying it was that he was out.
There's been talk, like Ben Affleck said that, no, I'm not out. His brother said he was. And then his brother
They
came
should
back
hire
and said, no,
Casey
he was
Affleck.
not. And
How
then-
awesome would that be if
It's
they got
been-
Casey
yeah.
Affleck to be Batman in it? Conflicting
I
Affleck.
feel like a lot of people would not be as confused about all of this if right after that whole, now Matt Reeves thing happened, if DC hadn't gone, oh, by the way, we're releasing a Joker origin story movie that is not part of the DCEU.
And Shazam is supposed to not be part of it. So potentially, here's what I'm wondering. Let's say that Batman is not, okay? We also are getting the assumption that these guys are not all connected. Joker, Batman, Shazam are not in the same theoretical universe. So if they're successful, does that mean we have 4 DC universes all giving us schlock? I'm sorry, something got caught in my throat. All giving us these DC movies, or what? I'm so confused. Are you guys as confused as we are?
I'm glad that you guys
You
know
guys
what's
are
up.
not. Ladies and gentlemen, the studio executives from DC making all the decisions right there.
Sweet, I can
I
retire.
trust the one with the Pikachu. Make a movie. You'll do great.
Yeah, so I mean that's the bit of news this week. So Lil, you're saying that he
Right, no,
last
I'm
night
reading.
said-
I'm reading right here. Matt Reeves backtracked on it. He said, just to be clear,
Why
of
did he
course,
say it the first
of
time?
course, Batman will be part of the DC universe, but the Batman in my comments will not be a big part of the DCU. It is a story specific about Batman and not other characters in the universe. So it
So in
won't
other
be
words,
filled
he's
with
not gonna do the
cameos. It won't
Justice
be
League.
exactly. It won't be servicing other stories. There won't be like all you look at some of these movies, and even I love Spider-Man: Homecoming, but there's a ton of Easter eggs in it. He is saying there's not going to be any of that. He wants a specific Batman story, and it does say here that it's expected to be Ben Affleck, and he's expected to face off against Deathstroke. That is what they're expecting. Of course, that can change.
But if he's facing
But
off against
but
Deathstroke,
Ben is not officially out.
is anybody else as confused about this as I am? This is like, I don't get it. And then you've got the TV thing, and it doesn't all tie together. And
Well, I mean, I think the problem about the confusion here is because of all of a sudden this push for the Joker. So you're going to have a Joker Harley Quinn movie with.
well, yeah, don't
Which,
they have a-
God, and they canceled the Gotham Bombshells movie.
Oh,
and
did
now,
they?
Yeah, and now they're going to make
Gotham,
a Joker.
Gotham City Sirens is canceled,
Oh,
and they're
God.
doing Joker and Harley Quinn with Jared Leto as the Joker in that
It's,
one.
is,
But the Joker,
it's
the
kind of
Joker
like Trump is the one tweeting these things out. You know how he just like tweets like crazy? I kind of feel that like he's got his pulse on DC and he's just like, oh, there was an idea. Tweet, 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 tweet. Seriously.
They're very confused.
Okay.
I think the problem is there's no. Jeff Johns is not making this cohesive umbrella for it. Like if you look
Why
at
don't they
Marvel,
hire us? We will make it cohesive. for
if
them.
you look at Marvel with Kevin Feige, everything goes up to Feige.
Of course, if that happens, it would all become a Plastic Man movie in my book. So.
And I think that they're trying too hard to do the extended universe thing. They've seen how it's paid off for Marvel. Marvel's phenomenal. All their movies.
Yeah.
Like they're all different genres. You know, we've got the coming of age
But
movie
the
and
DC movies are
Spider-Man.
not different genres, and that's where part of the problem
It's
is.
a big
the
part.
other problem is they so just or
Well, Wonder
Batman
Woman
Superman
was.
was supposed to be Wonder Woman was, yes. That was their
Yeah.
first attempt at it.
Which succeeded. It was
Right.
their best movie.
Right, right. But if you look at Batman Superman, that was supposed to be Man of Steel 2. And then they went, wait a minute, it'll do better if Batman's in it. Hey, let's make a Batman Superman. And then they went, hey, we've got a Justice League. Let's call it Dawn of Justice. And then they started adding those in. And if they'd given just 10 more minutes to the decision, they would have said, let's call it Dawn of Justice of the Gotham City Sirens. And it would have just kept going on to get everybody in there. It's a bit of a mess. I want it to work out. I'm not a DC hater, a Lil is. I like all of it. It feels like a mess.
And I'm the only one
to me.
like kind of defending it here. I'm not saying. I know I'm the hater. Are you getting defensive over there?
It doesn't work when we're too far away from each other, Lil.
It doesn't. I can't slap you upside your head.
Exactly. And I haven't chimed in on this. I don't find what's going on at DC in the movies as bad as a lot of people on this table would. I kind of enjoyed them, but they are not anywhere near as cohesive as what Marvel's done. And I think we've talked about this before on the show and other times, and I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but DC has been behind, and they think that they can just snap what Marvel did together, and it's been very hard. And they backed, I don't want to say the wrong person, but Zack Snyder just didn't handle the job very well. And he's a great director in some aspects, but others it's like, what? Uh-oh. Is this Grumpy Cat again? I'm just
What?
No, James.
Oh, James.
No, I mean, okay, I think Zack Snyder, I loved Man of Steel, which I know isn't a popular opinion, but I think Man of Steel, it had a cohesive vision for what it wanted to do.
Right.
It wasn't the Superman movie
Are you groans out there?
Okay, yeah, it wasn't the Superman movie a lot of people wanted to see, but Zack Snyder had a vision for the movie, and he made it. And for what it is exactly what it intended to be. But from like everything I've heard about Batman versus Superman, it's not really a Zack Snyder movie. It's a DC executives calling the set over and over every day, telling them what to redo and reshoot all the time.
So since this isn't going out over the internet, I can say a couple of things. One is we know somebody who was on set. I can't reveal names, but they were telling us while they were in Chicago on set, they were going, I'm on set for a train wreck. And what this person was telling us is literally writers were on set, changing dialogue, changing script things, like huge moments, and they're like, we'll figure it out later. So that's why it's the mess it is. The writers were there because the executives were going, we want a scene with the Flash. They're like, we don't have, and we're already, what? So that's why this happened. But I gotta say, they really worked the climax because, I mean, come on. Why'd you say that name has to be one of the greatest? I'm sorry, I can't even say it. That's the worst. Why'd you say this name?
Yeah.
That was terrible.
The whole movie was disjointed.
Nobody
Lots
liked
of things
that, right?
didn't make sense.
Now watch, that's the one you like, right? You're like, no, but that was a great climax. That was terrible.
And it was, like you said, Man of Steel was, again, I'm of the unpopular opinion that it was decent. It wasn't the best movie. I'm of the even more unpopular opinion that I really liked Superman Returns. I thought that was a really
I like that one,
well
too.
done modern Superman movie.
I like that one too because
built off of that.
It has so much homage to the thing with the kid was stupid.
Yeah.
But I did like the movie. I mean, there's a lot that's wrong with it. They're all flawed. But really, I mean, seriously, it's not like Marvel movies aren't flawed either.
Right.
I know a little. They're not flawed. It's okay.
They're not as flawed as the DC
It's
movies.
okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
They at least are written well, they're
Guardians
planned
isn't
well,
flawed?
and they're executed.
Right. Well, the thing they have going for them more than anything is that, what you nailed, Jim, is they skate the genres. They say, this one is going to be our space opera. This one is a Western, even though, it's not obvious. They're taking those themes, those concepts, and each one is different. When the executives were playing with it a little bit more, were like forcing things, Age of Ultron, that's where it didn't work as well. I fell asleep in that one.
And same with Civil War,
No, Civil War's amazing.
No, Civil War was amazing.
Chris,
don't get me wrong. Civil War was not a Captain America movie. Civil War was an Avengers movie. Civil War was absolutely an Avengers movie.
Every movie is an Avengers movie now because they put every character in it, but that was a Captain America movie. If you look at those three movies, it makes sense as a trilogy.
Yes and no. Yes, leading up to the point. It's the same as putting Avengers in there and saying that was the second Captain America movie, and then saying the next Captain America movie was number 3.
Are you getting scared, Jim?
They're exactly,
Fight.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, let's squeeze him out. We'll do the Malachi Crunch. Only Chris gets that joke.
I think that they could have done a better third Captain America movie.
You got
That's
that
all I'm
one?
saying.
Yeah, see? There's an age limit to our jokes, but, all right. Hey, I know this is Sarah Tellis. Hi, guys. So, look, they're cosplaying kids. They're actually 50-year-old men. All right, let's get off DC for a second. I got one more news thing, and then we can do one of our pop culture countdowns or something. I lost it.
Good story, Rob.
Thank you.
What are your best ones?
I totally lost it. You guys got any stories?
Yeah, the only thing I had was the DC stuff. That's all that happened this week.
Well,
yeah, but we haven't done it this week in Geek in a while, so I was trying to.
There's one, and I always have to be the downer of the group. There's one sad story. Toby Hooper passed away yesterday.
I didn't see
He
this.
passed away. I guess it was late last night. That's when I saw the news. So I mean, the guy who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre and he directed Poltergeist.
Yeah. Well,
you know, after that he wasn't exactly. But I'm just saying. But he
was on set for a lot of it.
He was on set for a lot of it. Maybe he was there, but he at least gets credit for it.
Yes.
But two obviously very different and very iconic movies in our genre. The man was a big part of it.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
some of the other stuff, not so much, but that's okay.
He gets an honorary GEGOT because he's cool.
Explain a GEGOT to our fans, please.
Okay, so we had a conversation about the EGOT. You guys know what that is? Where you get the Oscar, the Emmy, the something and the something,
The
Grammy.
Tony and the Grammy.
So we decided.
Explain this to you guys here. Something.
Yeah, so we decided that, hey, Lil, it's a podcast. You want to grab a mic? So this was the idea we started talking about was if you're in enough geek properties, you get a Geek God. And we had all these criteria, but they're all wrong, and we get them, they're all over the place every time. So Toby Hooper does not get one because he wasn't in Star Wars. But you take somebody, I thought of somebody who gets a GEGOT too. Who is it? I'll have to think about this. It was a good one. It was somebody that went, oh my gosh, they were in Star Wars and Star Trek. But I forgot who it is. Oh, you know who gets a GEGOT? I do know who it is. Clint Howard. He's in the new Star Wars movie. He's in the Ron Howard.
The Han Solo.
He has not been in it yet.
No, but he will be getting a GEGOT. Plus he was Ice Cream Man and he was on Star Trek. Remember he was a little kid?
is that purely because his brother took over the directing duties?
Well, of course, sure.
He's in every movie his brother directs.
You know what?
isn't he?
It would also be if I took over the directing duties because I would totally bring Clint Howard in. He's awesome.
Well, that does remind me of another thing though with the Han Solo movie that and the actor's name has just slipped out of my head. So like that.
Clint Howard?
No, but one of the actors.
Woody Harrelson.
One of the actors cast by the previous director had to back out of the movie, and they were reshooting every scene he was in because they couldn't do reshoots. He couldn't make the reshoots because he's already committed to another movie, so they're redoing his entire part.
Do you guys know who it is?
Google will tell me.
Because of his hair or something?
Because of his hair?
No,
You think he had every cameo?
he's already committed. He's filming another movie.
It's Michael K. Williams. He's filming currently in Africa. He's on set for another movie. They wanted to bring in and do a whole bunch of reshoots.
Is it a music video for that Toto song, I hope?
And these terrible jokes. No wonder why people are leaving the room. I mean, if you guys leave, I wouldn't be offended. He should be. So he had this integral part with Han Solo, and now they have to cut and reshoot and retell the story for whatever he was. I don't know if they're going to recast or what they're going to do. They
That would be awesome.
Potsy?
He should be in everything. He wasn't Potsy, he was Fonzie.
I said, let's get Potsy.
Anson Williams?
I know who Henry Winkler is.
You're such a kid, I didn't know. He was
He was the principal in Scream. That's
Yes,
how
he
I
was. Yes, he was.
Am I the only person up here who kind of thought that the Han Solo movie was going to be doomed from the second it was
You are,
announced?
because shut up.
I gotta say,
I'm with you. I was worried about it.
yeah, I was, the only thing that I really super like about it is Donald Glover as young Lenny Calrissian. That's
That's
very
amazing.
exciting.
That's amazing, yeah.
But other than that,
The Lando system?
they should have made an Obi-Wan movie first, they should have made a Boba Fett movie first.
They should
could have
have,
done
of
any
course.
number of other movies before they did a young
What?
Han
How are
Solo.
they
they should have done a
going
Boba
to do a
Fett
Boba Fett movie? The guy's in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, wasn't that called the
I mean, he's a
prequel?
great character, but why would he doesn't deserve a movie?
Show him his time in between the prequels
What?
and the sequels as a bounty hunter.
There's
That's
like 5 million
No,
people that deserve
Brandon's right. That's your Western. Where you
Exactly.
have him as a bounty hunter
What?
going
The
across
whole
the
thing is
galaxy.
a Western.
Right, but that's
This is
so
more
Star Trek too. That's
yeah.
Wagon Train and as a sci-fi
I
movie.
would have done Boba Fett as part of the Han Solo movie. That would have made sense because you see
Yeah, but did they
Han's
have a lot of
reaction every
interaction?
time. Well, when was
I
it
bet
Return of
he
the
did.
Jedi when he said Boba Fett, he freaked out.
I bet they
couldn't
surprised
see.
him.
That was also only because Boba Fett was
Nice.
only there since right
You're
before
Boba
Okay.
A New
You're
Hope.
awesome.
He probably only entered the picture like, sorry, James. He probably only entered the picture like maybe a year before A New Hope, like in terms of the backstory. So young Han Solo is supposed to focus on him like as a teenager, whereas we don't really know how old he is. I'm guessing 30s. In his shut up, phone.
How are you now?
Exactly.
Wait, how old Boba Fett is? You know
No,
how
no. Han Solo.
Okay.
So he didn't. The young Han Solo film focuses on young Han Solo. Like
Well, not young. I mean,
yeah,
Empire's still going on. Yeah. So it's
Right.
in between the two movies
Right.
because there's the Empire.
But
They've
there's
already-
there's what 20, 30 years in between the prequels and the originals.
no, there's 15
20,
years.
there's 20 years.
How's it 20 years? I mean, that's
Luke
17
Skywalker
years.
is
18.
Yeah, 18 years old.
18 at
Yeah.
most.
And he was born at the end of the third one.
What a bunch of geeks we are. We don't even know the right timeline for Star Wars.
It's because they keep changing it.
But
But
what if they age differently on that planet, and we start thinking that he's 15?
This is an interstellar,
So
Rob.
are you saying your four are gonna look really bad when you're 50?
Ooh, I already do. So.
well, they are coming out with a Han Solo movie that's already not Han Solo, Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, and that's in the works.
And Ewan McGregor.
Now, I think, is it going to be Ewan McGregor in it? It better be.
Nothing's
He-
official yet.
That's
but
what I
he
want
has
to see.
said from the day one after the prequels were done that he was willing to come back and do it. He wants it. And now he's aged perfectly where you can do it right in between.
Not if they do young Obi-Wan. Now they
If they
go
do
back.
young- yeah.
Now they go back and he's a kid and he says, "So wizard," and you're like, "Oh, why did they do this?"
Nobody wants to see that.
No.
There were books that I read as a kid, the Young Apprentice series, if anybody remembers those. They weren't that great, but everybody wants to see an Obi-Wan movie set in between. Obviously,
yeah.
there's gonna be most of the time he was on Tatooine, but I'm sure there's other points. In
No, you gotta go.
Leaves.
You gotta do all the stuff when he's like escaping before he lands at Tatooine.
I want to see a Clone Wars movie, a good Clone Wars movie
Right.
with
Ewan McGregor.
You know, you keep handing the microphone to me and then
And
just
then
like
saying
talk.
something,
Yeah, and then okay. So just to settle this, by the way, you said 15, 20, and 18
You're 20 is
years.
right.
It was 19 years, so we were all wrong.
Yeah.
Say what? No.
Say what?
I was
You know
gonna-
they're
I was
gonna
gonna
do a
give you
Yoda movie at
credit,
some point
James.
too, and it's gonna like they got to get that one right too. I don't know how they're gonna pull that one off.
So how much time was between Rogue One and New Hope?
17 years.
Oh,
I just made that up.
2 seconds.
Yeah.
2 seconds. It was
A
just when
day.
it starts at.
A day, at the most.
No, not even a day. He walks through the corridor. It's the beginning of the next movie.
Hyperspace takes a minute. It's not instant.
It was instant.
No, it wasn't.
He's walking through the thing. Brandon, go see the movie.
No.
Although in
he's walking
space,
through
if
the
time
corridor.
moves differently,
He's walking
there's
through
a
the corridor.
possibility that that's 7 dog years. That it,
He's walking through the corridor of the ship that the Tantive 4 is docked in. The Tantive 4 gets away, and he stares out the window like, "Oh, daughter, dang you."
okay.
I don't
He
know.
go arg.
No. All right, let's do a pop culture countdown unless you guys got something else.
Go for it.
Okay, so this is these two haven't played this, but they're going to play it now. We do one of the other shows we do, and we're going to just do it for This Week in Geek. Is we will. This is awful, by the way, for us, because what you do is you come in and you have to name your top 5 of something, and then we have to debate it out to get to the top 3. You think that's easy? Try doing NES games. We're going to do superhero movies because it's Comic-Con. So, I want to hear your top 5 superhero movies. Who's prepared? Sure. You know I'm not.
Would have
Go
been
ahead.
nice to tell us this beforehand.
Oh, it was on the Facebook post though.
Yeah, it was on the Facebook post, but that's okay, Brandon. Go ahead.
All right, are we going 5 to 1, or I'm not naming all 5?
Just
right?
name 5. Name 5 that you... Haven't you ever played this game?
Yeah, many times you keep changing the rules on it.
No,
All right.
okay, on League of Geeks they do it where they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, we each say our top 5 and then we have to fight it out to get to the top 3.
All right,
That
all
we
right.
agree on.
Okay. The Dark Knight,
Yep.
Iron Man.
Are you writing these down, Chris? Do you have a pen?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay, everybody just remember.
Just,
'cause we're
you
gonna
know
get it
what?
wrong.
My 5 is the top 5, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
Spider-Man, Raimi's Spider-Man 2.
yes.
I knew that was coming. So.
Raimi's Spider-Man. Well, no,
Spider-Man Homecoming.
and Captain America,
Amazing Spider-Man.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Those are my top 5.
All right, so top number 1 is Ant-Man, because Ant-Man's always been my favorite superhero. Ant-Man, The Dark Knight, Raimi's Spider-Man 2, Logan, and X-Men 2.
What's that?
X-Men 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not bad.
X2, X-Men. Yeah. That's a good one. Who's got one?
All right, I do. I'm Dark Knight, which seems to be the runaway favorite, but I think that's the best superhero movie ever. I'm going to contend that Blade is a great superhero movie.
You're not wrong.
And that's what I'm going to throw there. I'm going to throw Spider-Man 2 in there. I'm going to throw the Christopher Reeves Superman, the first one back, as one of the best movies. And then it's a toss-up. I'm throwing in Batman 66 because of the impact it had.
So-
not as a great movie, but as an impact it had.
That is a great movie. I love it.
It's campy, it's horrible, but as an impact on the superhero thing, I think it made that happen. That's my
Shark
favorite.
repellent.
Robin, pass me the
No,
shark
it's not. It's
repellent.
bat
That's the
shark
best
repellent,
moment.
by the way. And then we're in a surfing contest. It's the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Lil, you'll be complaining the next time a shark jumps at you when you're on a helicopter ladder.
But in terms of
I guess so.
But in terms of everybody's youth that produced all of the movies that we're talking about, they most likely or definitely watched that movie and said, "We can't do something like this. Let's do something better."
Plus, Cesar Romero's Joker is pretty killer. Woo, Batman. See, that was a good impression. That was one.
All right, so you're 5.
Mine? I'm not prepared. I would say Dark Knight, of course. I would say, see, I'm debating on, you know, I really think Raimi's Spider-Man 2, I like it better than I like Homecoming, even though if you ask me tomorrow, I'm going to say Homecoming. I like Logan was amazing. Logan is killer, isn't it? Did you guys watch the noir version of that? No? The black and white. Logan Noir, it's on the DVD. You can watch it in black and white. It's even better. Yeah. How about that scene? When everything goes in slow motion and then he pops the guy? Spoiler. He pops the guy and it goes, and it's faster, the blades are faster than the slow motion because they're so freaking fast. Love it. Okay, sorry, Brandon.
That's all right. I still haven't seen it.
I know that scene was
How can you be up here?
Logan is
and
Wolverine.
see Logan.
Spoiler. Yeah, he's got claws.
So you got Dark Knight, Spider-Man 2, Logan.
Wolverine Origins. No, I'm kidding. Don't put that down.
I mean, I didn't hate Origins.
Shine.
I watched it.
I'm going to say one that's going to take everybody
With the
off.
windows covered and nobody can see me watching Origins.
I'm going to say one that ticks everybody off. The Watchmen.
Oh no, that's good. Yeah.
I love
Top
it.
5 of the movie.
It does. I'll tell you why. So
not top
many.
five.
Wait, it is, and I'll tell you
It's
why.
not.
Fight us a little.
So many of these movies are the same. Watchmen, stylistically very different.
No, Watchmen stylistically is the same as Superman Returns and Batman v
Exactly.
Superman.
It's the same as any DC.
It's the same
movie.
director,
That's because
But it was before he had the DC deal. It's why they hired him for the DC stuff. And then they got too involved. He had more control over this movie. Now, I also think that he did a great job with the ending on that movie because it's so hard to film. I like how it went. I liked the film. I liked overall. I walked out of there going, I don't know why people don't like this. And I usually can sniff it out. This one I like. So Logan, I'm saying Watchmen. I'm saying Raimi's Spider-Man 2. I'm saying, what else did I say?
You said Dark Knight, Spider-Man
Dark Knight,
2,
of course.
Logan, and Watchmen.
And then for the last one, I am not going to say Mystery Men, even though it's so funny that it has the spleen in it. No. You know, the fifth one is a really tough one because
Deadpool.
you know, I might say Deadpool. And here's what's funny: if you guys knew our show, you heard me bitch about Deadpool for like a year, saying this is never
Yeah,
going
because
to
you
work.
hate Ryan Reynolds.
This is never going to work. And I
I love
kept saying,
Ryan.
I didn't want to see when he breaks the fourth wall, I'm like, this is going to ruin it. I'm going to hate this. I loved it. It was great. Want to hear me complain about the sequel, though? Because I have a feeling they're going to ruin the sequel. But I really don't want them to. I'm going to say Deadpool. I said Deadpool is my 5th. So what do we got?
So far, everyone's list is wrong except for mine. But go ahead.
Well, so the ones that we all agree on, this is not the debate I thought it was gonna
Maybe
be.
Spider-Man because I think that
We all say Spider-Man 2, right?
2, and then I said Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2 made everybody's
Dark
list.
Knight.
Yeah.
Dark Knight made
Winter
So what's number 3?
Okay.
Oh, Winter Soldier.
And Iron Man.
No, I'm gonna make in
Your
the
lists
top.
are all wrong.
I'm gonna come to you on Winter Soldier because that was an incredible film. So I will say there's your top 3, even though it wasn't on my list.
What was your last one again?
I added Winter Soldier to it.
Winter Soldier, okay.
What do you guys think? So we've got what should be the number 3 spot?
So
Don't ask Will's family because
Let's not ask me. I see how it is.
My
I wasn't
family
just
didn't
gonna-
read all these.
No, we didn't.
2 years.
Okay, so I agree with Chris in that Blade was amazing, but Blade 2 was way better. So Blade 2 is definitely up there for me. Blade 2 was way better.
It was.
Before the Marvel movies were even Marvel movies, it was the perfect Marvel property, in my opinion.
It was. It actually deserves to be part of the MCU.
I agree.
When they go back and they bring Blade in,
If
they need
it
to make
better
that
be
and
Wesley
just
Snipes.
say, this is where it actually, you were seeing it here. Like they can't go back to those, like, Lou Ferrigno Hulks and say it's part of
Yeah.
the MCU. The Blade ones, they could.
I think that it's really hard between Spider-Man 2, Raimi's Spider-Man 2 and Homecoming, but I'm going to have to go with Homecoming. Spider-Man 2 was amazing because it was that very classic Raimi, very pulpy. You know, that scene in the hospital when they're trying to take off his arms was like Evil Dead all over again. I loved it. It was
Okay.
amazing. Dark Knight, of course. Deadpool, of course, because that's the perfect.
Oh, did
Spider-
Deadpool just make it in the
perfect.
top 3?
It is the perfect superhero.
What else got 2 votes or 3 votes?
Logan got.
Oh, Logan's better than Deadpool.
Now you see, I haven't seen Logan, so.
I voted for Brandon. It is Chicago. I vote twice,
Shot.
so it's Logan. You're out.
I can't really think of what would be my 5th. I was trying to go off the rails and think of something that's not like.
Batman animated
Maybe
series.
something good?
You know
Batman
what?
and Robin
Mask of
did
the
that, really took the
Phantasm
crowd
was
off.
amazing, and I'm really sad that that's not like canon. The Phantasm should totally be in that universe, but no.
Want to make everybody mad? Say Josh Trank's Fantastic Four.
You know what? No, I will say Roger Corman's Fantastic Four, just because nobody's seen it. It's awful, and it's the perfect example of what should not be done
It is horrendous.
in a movie. It is awful.
Not
It's
as bad as
not
Josh
available
Trank.
anywhere. It's never been released.
Has anybody seen the documentary about that movie? I know you have because I made you watch it with me. Watch the documentary Doomed. It's free on Amazon Prime. It is amazing watching this cast talk about how awesome that movie was, and like that they want a release of it. And they still want a release of it. I mean, I remember like walking through like Wizard World Chicago here like 15 years ago and seeing bootleg copies of people
Yeah,
playing
that's
it.
how I saw it.
And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy this. I want to see this, and then see like just him extending his arm.
Oh.
And I'm just like, okay, I'm not buying this movie. I'm like, I can't.
No,
do
but I saw it.
and I love Marvel. I can't
It's
do it. Oh, I've
better-
seen the movie.
It's better than the Josh Trank one.
Oh, it is. The Josh Trank movie is a train wreck.
Yeah,
Completely.
it's surprising. I don't know how they made it worse than the Corman movie, but it is.
I would say it's better than Suicide
But watch Doom. I'm telling you.
No,
Suicide Squad.
it's not better than Suicide Squad.
All right,
I actually
the door's
enjoyed
right
Suicide
there.
Squad.
I don't know if you can.
I actually enjoyed Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad makes clearly the top 30 superhero movies.
Suicide Squad was a trash fire, but it was a
Was it
really
30?
fun trash fire. I like it kept me warm. You know, it didn't actually smell bad. Someone threw some herbs in it. Sure, it was trash, but it was great.
And what's her name? Margot Robbie killed it in that movie.
Yeah.
She did. I know they used her for other marketing, and it was kind of sexist the way they used it and everything. That aside, she can act, and she played a great Harley Quinn. I didn't like the choice for which Harley Quinn they had her do, but I liked her performance as Harley Quinn. I bought it.
Plus, Will Smith
Will
played
Smith was
perfect
great.
Will Smith.
Will Smith was really, really
He was
good.
great in it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's pointing at Deadshot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But for my actual
He should have said "Welcome to Earth." That would have been the perfect Will Smith.
My actual number 5 though is X-Men: Days of Future Past. Yes, that was, in my opinion, the perfect
You know what?
X-Men movie. Yeah.
How did 2 X-Men movies
It's not better than-
potentially make the top 5?
It's way better than
There's no way.
2 is
I
great. 2
love
was arguably the
that
best
one.
of the originals, but Days of Future Past blew it out of the water. It took the old and the new and it mixed it perfectly.
So I got a story about Days of
Um,
Future Past. We go to see it, and I fell asleep. I fall asleep in everything. I fell asleep right at the end. Okay, so I missed that whole ending. I walked out, I'm like, that movie was amazing. I didn't know anything I didn't know Logan was in the water. I didn't know any of that stuff. And then we had to review it on something, and I went to see some other movie. I'm like, oh, I can go in, I can watch the last 15 minutes. I loved it so much. Yeah, I loved it so much. It was like seeing a brand new movie when I saw that ending. What a great movie.
It's
So-
amazing when you stay awake what happens.
Yeah, it is. It is. I stayed awake for Spider-Man 2, even though it sounded like I was asleep.
There is no way 2 X-Men movies are.
No, it's not going to make the top
X-Men is
5.
the X-Men's the best superhero movie series.
No.
Yeah.
That
It is. Yeah.
Captain America is
I love
best
X-Men.
overall series. No. Captain America is best overall series. You take all 3 movies, they're all excellent.
All right,
You
so
can't even say,
there,
like
there,
Spider-Man,
there are no
Spider-Man,
movies with the
you can say about
lows
2.
of X-Men Origin or X-Men 3.
Yeah.
There are no movies that hit that low point in a series.
Yeah.
There is no
Wolverine
series.
Origins is as low as you
And
can.
I watch Origins. I own it on Blu-ray.
So do I.
I sit, like I
I
said.
know, and I just watched it, and I hate myself for it.
But
When
there is no
Green-
movie as bad as that.
When Green Lantern is better
But there is no movie.
than X-Men.
That's a lie, and you need to take that dirty lie back.
You know what sucks? I hate myself for this. I have that on Blu-ray too.
I do too. I bought it in the dollar bin because I had a
So
review.
did I.
So
And you know what? I
it's like, oh, it's
skipped
a dollar.
over the Hot Wheels scene, and it was okay to watch.
They did. They paid me to take the movie off their shelves at half-price books.
When Will first started on This Week in Geek, he told a really funny story. I think it was the X-Men movies. You got a box set, and you were driving home with the box set, and you threw Origins out the window. Isn't that the one that you said?
No, it was the Karate Kid box set. It wasn't Origin.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
The fourth
Karate
Karate Kid movie. I was like, this is terrible.
Terrible. Yeah. Well, in spirit, I think it should have been Wolverine Origins.
No, because I still own it.
Yeah, so do I. Did I just say this?
I bought it twice. I bought it on regular DVD and then Blu-ray when it came out. on Blu-ray.
I'm not that bad. But I do own 17 copies of Star Wars.
I love it, and I'm not that bad. What? I'm so confused.
And I do have the X-Men. I do have multiple copies of all the X-Men movies, I think, on Blu-ray, DVD, and
Because you're a big
on
Patrick
Blu-ray.
Stewart fan, that's why.
And if you want to get deep cut, I have some things where I have the laser disc, the DVD, the Bluray. Yeah. The digital copy now
Do you
too.
have those on beta too?
No.
Don't look at my closet.
He has
I
to think about
have a
that.
couple of betas at home too, but I don't have a beta player. But I do have Mad Dogs and Englishmen by Joe Cocker on beta. Oh my gosh, so good. Not that I
Nobody
can
knows
ever
what
hear
you're
it.
talking about.
I know it's old man speak. You know it. See?
And I'm a beta player.
See, and he is a beta player. See, you guys are all missing out, punks. All right, so what did we come to? Dark Knight. What did we come to?
Dark Knight and
You've got a list.
Spider-Man
Look, it
2.
shrunk. I don't like when it shrinks.
Spider-Man 2.
But
Spider-Man 2.
There's no way
and
that
Dark Knight.
Deadpool
What's
can
the
be that
third
good.
one? We got to decide. We got a minute here.
I personally think it's Deadpool.
I'm throwing it in the audience.
Okay.
Anybody?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Do we have the first two right?
I still can't believe nobody's getting. Oh, let's put Iron Man, the original Iron
It's
Man.
good.
Are
It's
you
amazing.
kidding me?
Like,
Okay.
I'm gonna revisit because I think Iron Man deserves to be on that. Number one,
No, I
it's
give Winter
awesome.
Soldier over Iron Man.
No, but
It launched the
it,
MCU.
it launched the MC. Well, it launched this version because I still contend Blade.
good.
I still contend without Blade, it never would have happened.
We can't even
I think
say
Iron Man
that.
is great, and Downey, he has proven
He launched
that
it.
if he doesn't go into a movie, it's got a chance of not being good. He
Wasn't
adds,
good.
He
but
wasn't in Doctor
he adds
Strange. That was
50 to
awesome.
100 to
He wasn't in
200
Ant-Man. That was awesome.
Yeah, he wasn't in
Yeah, but Ant-Man was good, but it's
He wasn't in
it's a lot.
Suicide Squad. That was all right.
He wasn't in the first Captain America movie.
He wasn't in X-Men or Wolverine Origins either, so.
He wasn't in the Notebook.
Do we need to talk about the Notebook? That made number one right now. So audience, okay. So we got the two right. Who gets number three? Winter Soldier. Anyone contest that?
One.
Is everyone, put your hand up if you're in agreement with
Spider-Man,
Winter Soldier getting
What do you
number.
think?
I like Iron Man more.
Okay,
we
so
go.
we got Iron Man. We got a Winter Soldier.
But we have more Winter Soldiers. Iron Man? We had a buddy
We're
friendship.
going top 4 Iron Man
Until right now.
and Winter Soldier.
Are we going with
Okay, guys, let's do what we usually do on our show.
Which makes sense because Marvel, I mean, the definitive movie is probably is The Dark Knight with the Joker, with Heath Ledger's Joker,
Yes.
and then it's a handful of Marvel movies.
Yeah, so let's do this. It's the top 10, and
It is not.
we're not gonna go through all 10,
Top five.
but we just added those, we put slashes. So Winter Soldier and Iron Man have to be on there, and then
Iron
Blade
Man.
and Watchmen and Deadpool.
Sounds good.
No way.
Is that a good top
Watchmen's
three?
on my list.
And Logan.
And Logan.
Not my
There's our
top
top
10.
3.
That's the best top 7 out of 3 I've ever
Okay,
seen.
so
I'm putting Wonder Woman ahead of Watchmen.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys knew this. I failed math in high
you know
school.
what? I will go with that for sure. I will put Wonder Woman above that because the No Man's Land sequence is one of the finest things ever.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
Actually, Wonder Woman.
Yeah, they need to keep doing that and stop doing the other things they're doing.
Wonder Woman.
It's a good movie. I love it.
Can we
You know
just
what?
give every
Marvel needs
DC
to learn from that and make that Black Widow movie that is badass. That's what they need to
Can
do.
we all agree that
Sorry,
DC
kids, I
just
swore.
needs to give
I said
every
bad.
single DC movie to Patty Jenkins?
No, she was great, but no, not every single one. I like it to be different. Let's give it to the Duffer
They've all
Brothers.
been
And they'll make it. Yeah, see, they'll make it Wonder Woman, Stranger Things.
version of a superhero movie.
I want to see.
Wonder Woman fights the Demogorgon.
A Justice
I'm in.
League dark
We find
movie
out that
by the
11
brothers.
comes out to be Wonder Woman. I am so in. I am so in. You guys remember that outtake where she's eating waffles, right? Never mind. Okay, so that's it. We gotta end because we ended 2:15, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're done. So here's a couple of things.
Good ending.
Yeah, we didn't get to Geektastic Cage Match, so sorry guys. That's like our most
That
popular
was
thing.
basically a geek-tastic.
You didn't turn red. So you can follow This Week in Geek. You can follow, let's give our social media real quick. The company is Southgate Media Group. We have a website, southgatemediagroup.com. We have like 100 different podcasts on our network. We do live at the Blue Box. That's where Chris Lil and I are all the time. Jim is now part of that with his Tales by the Blue Light. Brandon is part of it with We Know Games, which he never produces. And we're going to make a woman walk around with him with a bell. Shame. Shame. Okay? Only one person left. Thank you. Let's see, what else? Chris, they can find you at?
Absolutely, that can be found at www.theblueboxcafe.com
Write it down,
or Blue
folks.
Box Cafe or Blue Box Cafe 176 on social media.
Yeah, if
Sorry
you have
about
Twitter, follow us right now. Just type them in. You.
You can follow me at the League of Geeks podcast at LOGEEKZ.
And I am on Twitter at Brandon Carlson, BrandonCarlson. I'm also on YouTube. How do I game?
All right, you can find me on Twitter at ARCBEATLE, Arc Beetle, and on Facebook at James Wilder Writer and in Artist Alley and booth F48.
Yes, and then you can follow me at R Southgate. Follow me on Instagram, which is the fun one. That is Rob Southgate. That's where I do. There was a guy the other day that was dressed in the same shirt I was, so we posted that he was cosplaying me. It was awesome. You only see that on Instagram. It was awesome. What else? I think that's it. Oh, 2 fast things. If you follow us on all that stuff, we actually have a book coming out. It's called Pod Life. We have a Kickstarter going for it right now. If you like podcasts or if you just like stories about creativity and inspiration, it's a really good book. We're working on it right now. We have like 9 days left. It's called Pod Life. It's on Kickstarter. Please, even if you don't donate to it,
Share it.
Tell your friends, share it, spread the word. It's a really great book, and last night we finalized the cover. Well, we didn't finalize it. We know what the cover is exactly when we get the prototype. We know it's done, but it's everything that I wanted it to be. I'm so excited. Pod Life. It's one word.
It's a picture of me on that bearskin rug.
It is
Deadpool.
that Deadpool shot of a Lil. And you know what? Hands up, who in the room has had that blind them? Only those 4 people over there. And then we also have on October 7th in Elgin. Who here's from Chicago? Who knows what Elgin is? Everybody.
Me.
Everybody. All right. So Chris owns the Blue Box Cafe in Elgin, which is awesome. On October 7th, we have our 3rd annual podcast marathon. It is 13 hours of podcasts. And we have them really tight. We have them stacked. So it's like every half hour. So there's like, right now I think we have 20 podcasts lined up. It is so much fun. The food is great. It's free to go. We have an Indiegogo for that right now. So if you want to help support us, because we need money to pay for our poster, which is incredible. It's by Tom Kelly, but I got to pay him. And I need people to help us with that. So yes, the podcast marathon, the book, that's it. I'm done showing. Thank you, everybody. Have a great time at the Comic-Con.
Thank you.
If you want to talk to us, we'll be in the hallway and like wandering around.